is more of a subjective measurement. Why is this important? Because it is the changes which starts at the internal os and finally leads into the preterm labor. You can see a nice long cervix, and the changes started slowly here with the funneling at the internal os. There is further decrease in the cervical length, and you can see funneling up to the external os. You can see here the opening of the cervical canal and the dilatation of the canal with the descent of the fetal head, bulging of the membranes with the sludge. It is not only the funneling, but you also have to concentrate on the canal, because sometimes you see the canal is open and the membranes are bulging with the sludge like this. Though these patients may not have pain, but these people are at high risk for preterm premature rupture of membranes. So what to measure in funneling? Do we have to take so many measurements, A plus B, etc.? And where do we have to exactly keep our calipers when a patient comes with funneling? Remember, it's very simple. It's a closed part of the cervix, which is the functional cervix. So no need to take so many measurements. It is ultimately the functional cervix which gives us the prediction of that lady going for preterm labor in the next few weeks. When to measure the cervix? Before 12 weeks, the lower uterine segment is not formed, so it is difficult to distinguish where exactly the true cervix is there. So ideally, if you have to do once in pregnancy, it is between 18 to 22 weeks, because this is the mean time when the cervix shortens in the majority of women with preterm labor. In low-risk women, it's between 20 to 22 weeks, ideally at the time of TIFA. In the high-risk group, you have to start examining early at around 16 weeks and every 15 days. It's a serial transvaginal scan which has got better predictive value, especially in the high-risk group. And the normal cervix at 24 weeks has an average length of 3.6 centimeters, and the risk of the preterm labor is inversely related to the cervical length. That means a cervix, if short, there's high incidence of preterm labor. But this cervical length changes from singleton to multiple pregnancy. In singleton pregnancy, a cervical length of less than 15 millimeters, there is almost 30% chance of this patient going into labor. But in multiple pregnancy, this cutoff length is to 2.5 millimeters. I just want to emphasize a small point here, because the preterm labor mechanism in multiple pregnancy is entirely different from the preterm labor what you see in a singleton with an incompetent cervix. In a multiple pregnancy, the cervical changes are secondary to the uterine contractions. That means because of overdistension, the uterus starts contracting and there will be secondary cervical changes. So the cervical length may not help you as accurate as in the singleton, because once the contraction starts, the long cervix may become short because of this. When you compare the cervical examination with the clinical examination, it always have got a good, better predictive value. Coming to the screening, when you screen the woman with the previous preterm labor, with the history alone, we'll be able to pick up 30% of the ladies who are at risk for preterm labor. Simply adding the cervical length, your detection rate increases more than 60%. This cervical length, as I told earlier, has direct correlation with the preterm delivery. If this cervical length falls less than 15 millimeters, the chances of that lady going into labor in the next 1 week is around 25%. And if this length falls less than 5 millimeters, there is 90% chance that the lady is going to go into preterm labor in the next 1 week. So the cervical measurement helps us in the prediction of preterm labor and helps us to know the likelihood of delivery in the threatened preterm labor. It helps us to identify the high-risk women who benefit from intervention and who does not. It avoids history-indicated cerclages, avoids any intervention if the cervix stays closed and long. It helps to distinguish between the true and false labor pains. As I showed in the previous images, a lot of places I was mentioning about the sludge. The sludge is nothing but the sonographic finding of dense aggregates of particulate matter in the amniotic fluid, which is seen very close to the internal os. It is an indicator of microbial invasion of the amniotic fluid cavity. By ultrasound, you can see the sludge like this, and this is the gross picture. This looks almost like the pus, and this is the wet mount picture. What does this exactly, the sludge means? The sludge contains the bacterial biofilaments and what these biofilaments are. Whenever there is infection, the microorganisms invade the amniotic fluid. So, when the microorganisms invade the amniotic fluid, the immune system responds to this. These organisms try to either escape the immune system or get resistance to that. So they change in their shape and they come close to each other. But here, there's one more mechanism happening is, when they come close to each other, they will be surrounded by a matrix or gelatinous material. So the clumps of bacteria covered by this gelatinous material are called biofilaments. Because of their thick, we can see them as a particulate matter in the ultrasound. The disadvantage of forming these biofilaments are they are resistant to most of the antibiotics and they are not grown on cultures. So if these amniotic fluid are sent for cultures, we almost get normal and there's no growth. It's the same case of CSOM. You can see frank pus coming, but their cultures are sterile. This is also the same situation we see. But the advantage of this is, because of these biofilaments, they try to escape the immune system, so you won't see the acute flare-up symptoms. That's why you're not seeing the patients with fever, etc. They have the low-grade chronic inflammatory signs, and these filaments, because of gravity comes down, they irritate the membranes and causes premature rupture of membranes. When you see the association of this amniotic fluid sludge to the preterm labor, when you compare with short cervix alone and the sludge, when there is association of sludge and short cervix, there is a high incidence of preterm labor before 28 weeks. So in conclusion, transvaginal ultrasound is the gold standard for cervical examination. The cervical length of less than 25 millimeters increases the risk of preterm labor. A combination of sludge and short cervix confers a high risk for spontaneous preterm delivery at less than 28 weeks than a short cervix alone.